Hello everyone, welcome back to the 16th of July midweek updates on technical insights. This Wednesday morning, Asian markets traded mixed with the Nikkei 225 index trading near flat, but the Hong Kong indices were up, especially the Hang Seng Tech index benefiting from the lift of restriction of Nvidia chips to China. US President Donald Trump said that he has struck a preliminary trade agreement with Indonesia that it will impose a 19% tariff on the country export to the US, while US export won't be taxed. Overnight in the US market, major US indices finished mixed following the latest CPI data, US bank earnings, while Nvidia shares helped boost the Nasdaq to an all-time high. The latest CPI data for the month of June accelerated 2.7% from a year ago, rising from 2.4% in May. This is the fastest pace since January, showing signs that the US tariffs are driving prices higher. This caused investors to price in lower odds that the Fed will cut interest rate more than once this year, and the probability of a cut in September is now seen as only slightly above the 50% mark. Fed Dallas President Lori Logan also said that while Fed policymakers will likely need to hold rates steady for a longer period to fully cool inflation. So with the risk skewed to the upside, we should expect to see the Fed remain on hold until it gets more clarity about the risk to inflation and the labor market outlooks caused by the tariffs. The stronger inflation print caused the Dow Jones Index to fall by almost 1% to 44,023 points, while the S&P 500 fell 0.4% or 24 points to 6,243 points, even though the US bank kicked off the earnings seasons, beating profit expectation as US economy remained quite resilient. JP Morgan investment banking fees came in higher than their earlier guidance, growing by 7% to $2.5 billion. Investment banking revenue at the largest US banks were helped by the higher debt underwriting and advisory fees, while equities underwriting fees dropped. Shares of Citigroup also climbed by 3.7% and was among the best performer on the S&P 500 as its second quarter results surpassed analyst expectation, lifted by trading gains and revenue growth in the investment banking department. On the tech-heavy Nasdaq Composite, the index rose 0.2% or 37 points to 20,677 points, notching a fresh all-time high that was held by Nvidia, whose shares jumped by 4% to become the top performer on the Dow and the best performer on the S&P 500 as well. The AI chip giant announced that it would resume the sales of its H20 AI chips to China after the US pledged to remove the licensing curbs that have put a stop to the exports. The lifting of the export restriction will provide further upside and duration to Nvidia growth cycle, and the company will be expected to see higher sales than previous projections. So do look out for some re-ratings of Nvidia share price from the analysts soon. Back to Singapore, our STI index once again had a very good start to the trading week. On Monday, our STI index was up by 21 points or 0.52% over here. On Tuesday, the rally continued with another 10 points gain or 0.26% added to the STI index to close at 4,119 points. This Wednesday morning, we are seeing another 10 points gain, pushing the STI up by another 0.25%, with the STI all-time high now standing at 4,132 points. Week to date, we are up about 40 points or 1%, following last week 1.85% gain, and on track for the fourth consecutive winning week in a row. Year to date so far, we are up almost 9%, outperforming the US indices of 4 to 6% gain so far this year. Top gainer on the STI index on Tuesday was Jardine Matheson Holdings, which was up almost 4% or $1.92 to US $51.45. Top loser on the STI index on Tuesday was property developer UOL. The company shares fell by 1.3% or 9 cents to $6.75. So for today's technical analysis, let's take a look at Jardine Matheson Holdings. This Wednesday morning, Jardine Matheson share price continued Tuesday rally of 3.9% with another 4.5% jump to US dollars $53.75 at the midday break. For the trading week so far, Jardine Matheson is up about $4.70 or about 10%. So will this rally continue? Stay tuned to find out. We noted that in the first quarter of this year, Jardine Matheson share price were largely in a range-bound formation, with the low seen around the $38.50 level and the high seen around the $43.50 level. In the second quarter of this year, Jardine Matheson share price dropped to a low of $36.01 on the 9th of April due to the start of the US tariff. Subsequently, it rebounded about 38% to reach a high of $49.79 on the 7th of May. Prices then consolidate around the 50-day moving average in blue here at the US $44 level in June before joining the STI rally in the past few weeks to hit a multi-year high that we see today at $53.75. The immediate support level that we can observe from the chart will be the 7th of May high at $49.79, which could have a change in polarity from a resistance to a support level after the breakout that we saw in the early part of July this month. The next support level will be the green line here, which is the 20-day moving average now at $48.72, with the 50-day moving average at $46.86. The key resistance level that we see now as Jardine Matheson Holdings is trading above the upper bound of the Bollinger Band at $52.52 will be the 2023 January to Feb double top formation at the $54.89 level over here. On the indicators, we can see that the MACD has a positive reading and the MACD line is diverging up away from the signal line, indicating that there could be further upside in the near term. The RSI reading now at 77 suggests that Jardine Matheson's share price is now in the overbought region, and we could see a technical pullback similar to what we saw in the May period and the December period last year. So investors looking at Jardine Matheson rally recently should stay prudent and wait for a pullback towards the immediate support of $49.79, which was the high in the May period, or the 20-day moving average at $48.71 before accumulating Jardine Matheson share price again, targeting the January 2023 January to Feb double top at $54.89. And these are the updates that I have for you this week. If you do find the information useful, do remember to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with the latest market movement. And I'll see you again next week in the next Technical Insights.